The problem with the variety of configurations of a workplace where you have the extreme of entirely flexible, totally remote to return to office, JP Morgan, you need to have your butt in your seat all day, every day. Is that I think that there is an inequity that's going to happen or emerge where people who are present, quotes, will likely have more opportunities. They'll have more opportunities to be promoted. I'm concerned that there's an inequity that's going to happen, particularly for people who either have young children or who have parents who are elderly, where it requires a lot of time away from a computer. I mean, that happens today anyway, but I think it will become an even bigger problem as we move towards these policies that are completely inconsistent. What was my point? What was I?
Again, comes down to good leadership.
Well, that's right.
And
I think
I know I've spoken about it before, but we do have an issue with not supporting and developing people in leadership roles so that they can deal with these things to ensure that fairness, so that those inequalities are ironed out, not in a way of favoring one over the other, but favoring someone because they're in front of you and visible and you see them because they're in the office, over someone who may be absolutely better for a promotion, but they work more remotely. We don't give people the skills and the experience, which goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of how people get this experience, to be able to do that in a consistent way.
Yeah, I mean, look, the entire workforce is driven by individual contributors who are really fabulous. And when you have, a data scientist who's fabulous at what they do, suddenly they're in charge of all of the other data scientists. Except here's the problem. Data science has nothing to do with leading people and managing them and managing expectations and protecting them from all of the noise and letting them shine when they need to shine. And this is where a chief of staff becomes absolutely essential, is because presumably a chief of staff has spent a lot of time thinking about learning, understanding, being around great leaders. Or in the alternative, as you mentioned earlier, being around such lousy leaders that they understand what the problems are and have learned from it. I think it's pretty difficult to sort of maneuver those kinds of dynamics when you are remote only. But I suspect that there are people, and I welcome those who listen who are in remote only offices. I love to be wrong. I would love for somebody to say, look, you're wrong. Actually, being in an all remote workforce, you can still understand people dynamics. You can still get the sort of, little facial features and all the little things that people do or say, or the tone in which they say it. All of that you can learn and understand even if you're remote. I think it's very hard to sort of figure that out. But I do think, and this is what I was going to say. In terms of leadership, the best leaders, I think, do one thing first and foremost, which is you have to trust your people. And you have to believe that everyone is coming into work every day trying to do their best to do well. And we were talking about this on another podcast that we were doing, which is you can't assume that people wake up in the morning and think to themselves, I'm going to really screw up everybody's day to day and do it in such a malicious way. I mean, of course, there are always bad apples, but for the most part, people don't wake up in the morning and think, yeah, this is the day where I'm going to destroy everybody. Unless they're pushed to that point, and let's not ever get there.